I want to cover with you a really important topic that's emerged through all of this. And I think it's just one of the cool things that's come out of COVID. And we've seen this happen all over the place, all over the country. But the biggest takeaway and the silver lining for us of this pandemic as it applies to our work of saving lives and reaching no kill and beyond. And it's our vision of it's coming to life, and it's community supported sheltering. And it truly is one of the silver linings of COVID and this whole pandemic is the transformation and the change that's happening within animal shelter that is emerging on a national scale like we've never seen before. Even though best friends internally, we've been talking about this for almost a decade now, it is a long-term vision for us finally coming to life. And it's the piece about saving the lives of dogs and cats in America's shelters. It is really our moment to create monumental change and lasting change for good. And I think when the pandemic first hit, animal shelters across the country in every single community, they were calling on their communities to support them. And the communities, in a way that we've never seen before, stepped up to become a part of that solution. And shelters have seen unprecedented numbers, as I've mentioned before, for people to sign up and foster. And the result of that is that a lot of shelters across the country completely emptied their shelters for the first time ever. Some of the biggest shelter systems in the country completely emptied their shelters. And the number of dogs and cats that we see in foster homes right now are at an all-time high. And they are up by as much as 43% compared to last year. And the best thinking and the best data that we have is about 37% of the entire sheltering population right now is in foster or at a potential adoptive home. And that is remarkable. The COVID-19 pandemic, it forced everyone to do more virtually and to cut across all the red tape that was in the way of any potential complicated processes that have created barriers for people wanting to adopt or foster a pet. And you guys have all experienced that before, where you've tried to adopt or foster and you ran up against a bunch of roadblocks. But today we're seeing so much creativity and innovation right now. It's insane. From virtual pet adoption events on Zoom to curbside pickups to classes on how to bottle feed kittens on Instagram. It's really cool to see our movement step up and practice this unprecedented creativity. And animal welfare, just like a lot of industries, has been completely disrupted. And this is proof that solving the problem of pet homelessness, it's not going to happen inside a building. It is going to happen in communities. And animal shelters should not be a collection point for communities to deposit their pets. It's just we've moved beyond that as a society. And while animal shelters will always play a pivotal role, always, for providing support and resources to communities, we need to reimagine what that role looks like and reimagine what the role of a community in the housing and care of homeless pets actually looks like. And it truly is time for us to empower communities all across the country to directly help pets in their care. And we are seeing this unfold at an unprecedented national scale right now. And it's so cool to be a part of this movement that we've all been working so hard in for the last, I don't know, some of us have been in this for 25 years. Others have been in it for way longer than that. And as I think about us starting to reopen our communities, there is no reason why we can't keep these gains and continue to move forward beyond the pandemic and this positive life saving that we have. In fact, this is a launching point for us to do so much more for the animals in our sheltering system and change the way that our society completely looks at animal sheltering forever. And while there's been great progress to save the lives of cats and dogs in shelters over the past few decades, really the last 20 years, and I would say the last 10 years, we've seen change happen at a rate we've never seen in the last 150 years. The fact remains for us that our societies has still been looking to the shelters and only the shelters to solve the problem. And it really is time for us to flip this 150-year-old system on its head entirely and shift from the model of a single institution of sheltering and caring for homeless pets to the community really taking on that responsibility and really pushing that forward. For too long, we have made the walls of a brick and mortar shelter the first place to take animals who have been separated from their families or need help. And the burden of caring for animals in need has fallen solely on shelters and rescues. And you guys all know that because you live this every day. And in a post-COVID world, we need to look at our wider communities to solve the homeless pet problem in this country. We need to look to our neighbors, our community stakeholders, our elected officials, and of course, all of the animal welfare groups and shelters to be a part of the solution to save the lives of dogs and cats. The positive shifts that we saw during the pandemic, they really represent a new opportunity for how we can change how we serve the animals and the people that love these animals. This is such an opportunity for us to invest in services that prevent animals from ever entering the shelter in the first place. It really is an opportunity for us to trust our communities to step up and be a part of the solution. It is an opportunity for us to use technology to accelerate progress like we're seeing now, and really think about what's around the corner for us on technology solutions. Changing the way we operate now is going to help us save lives and keep more families together. And pets are part of that family. They are part of your family. This new vision of animal sheltering and the way our country relates to pets in need is more holistic and involves the entire community. And serving animals and people in the community and keeping families together, that is what it's all about. It's about supporting policies that help families and pets really become a unit. And part of that is stuff like pet inclusive housing to prevent pets from unnecessarily coming into shelters if landlords don't allow you to have a pet. And stuff like trap, neuter, return, vaccinate. All that stuff that's happening, we need to make this part of the new recipe for how communities help save lives and how communities really help support shelters. Part of that supporting programs that keep community cats out of shelters, investing in services that help pets and families stay together, like low-cost veterinarian care, behavior consultations, and pet food pantries. That intersection with other social services, which has happened to so many industries, not animal welfare yet, but this is something that we're looking at right now and really want to push forward. Services like domestic violence shelters, food pantries, affordable housing, veteran services, and mental health care providers. An increase in the use of technologies that streamline the delivery of services and accelerate progress. The COVID-19 crisis does not offer much in the way of silver linings, and I think we're all experiencing that right now. But the generations who are alive today, that's all of us, this is our generational opportunity. It is a crisis. It has been challenging, but this is our opportunity to reinvent and rebuild the kind of country that we want to live in, and that includes animal welfare. It includes animal sheltering. It includes animal control. And we recognize at this moment as a second chance to choose kindness and compassion. This is our opportunity to choose compassion and take collective responsibility for building a better world for animals, for the people and the pets in our communities. And it is an opportunity for best friends and our many shelter partners and rescue groups across the country. And this means saving the lives of hundreds of thousands of dogs and cats who are still killed every single year in America's shelters simply because they do not have homes, This means taking better care not only of our animal friends and our animal family members, but this means taking better care of ourselves and our neighbors and the dogs and cats who provide us so much comfort and love, especially during times like this and times in a crisis like COVID. This is where we start a new beginning. This is where we become who we really have always wanted to be. And it's such an exciting time for our entire movement and for everyone who's involved and all of our supporters, all of our members, all of our donors, and the general public. It is really a cool time.